It's really hard to get comfortable in this scenario. How do you start a YouTube video? I need to look this up. Hey guys, what's up? It's Jack. Oh, fuck, I hate that. I hate that so much. Hey, it's Jack. Welcome. How are you? How are you doing? I hope you're seeing some good movies recently. Hope the sun is shining where you're at. Hope you're getting outside. All that fun stuff. I'm doing okay, but unfortunately I had to go to CVS the other day and pick up this like special shampoo that supposedly will make my skin a little less flaky, and it wound up costing me, get this, $150. That's 150. That is absurd. But that's okay because, you know, if you think about it, skin is only temporary, and I won't really be needing it for when I ascend to that great Reddit forum in the sky, you know what I mean? I'm sorry if that seems a little bit morbid. That wasn't very silly, goofy, parasocial video essayist of me. I try to keep things light, but maybe this is the type of content that you can expect from this channel. You know, a little bit of film analysis over here, and then over here, maybe you can expect some long discussions about our mortality or something. Fun times for the whole family, you know? Speaking of fun times, The Rehearsal. This show has kind of become like the talk of the town recently. It's kind of surprising how much it's popped off, you know? It seems every year a piece of media will come out and the online discourse surrounding it is so heavy and widespread with so many varying opinions that it can't really be separated from the art itself. It's like when you mention the art, the discourse comes along with it. This year, The Rehearsal seems to fill that slot. Last year, it was definitely Burnham's Inside. 2019, I guess you could say it was like the Joker movie. Lots of content about lanky white guys that are just kind of built different and a little bit alienated from society. We live in a society. The quality of these projects vary, much like the critiques about them. You know, some people call them masterpieces of their time, and others call them harmful or pretentious, or just completely disregard and write them off. When it comes to The Rehearsal, though, I am personally in the former. I think that it is some of the best television that's come out in a long time. I was a big fan of Nathan Fielder's previous show, Nathan for You, and I feel like this one really builds on the blueprint and kind of surpasses what that show laid out, especially in the finale, Finding Francis. The show is about Nathan helping strangers tackle important moments in their life by building these elaborate sets and hiring hundreds of actors to simulate the experience of being in that uncomfortable moment. And he conducts these rehearsals where they run through that scenario over and over and over through trial and error and develop the best course of action. The social science and absurd premise is what draws you in, but you wind up staying to see how the architect himself behaves as the show leans more and more into exposing Fielder's own carefully guarded self. I've seen some people question the morals of the show, especially the depiction of certain people in it, but I think that it always comes back to Nathan and dissecting and understanding his, need to get to the root of humanity as well as his own insecurities. I mean, I could talk about this show forever and break down like every single detail that I saw, but I feel like there are going to be way more video essays coming after this, as well as some great ones that have already been put out. I highly suggest the ones from Nick is Not Green, Ro Ramden, and Woman Carrying Man. But one thing I have seen quite a bit in the discourse surrounding around this show, both online and in my personal life, has been about one character who takes up a lot of screen time and kind of acts as a foil to Nathan's mania, and that's Angela.
Just off the top of my head, I would say sure, let's go with it.
This is gonna be fun.
It will be.
I watched this show with a few of my friends, and every time she was on screen, I would hear them actively groan and voice their distaste for her. And then I went online to see if anybody else felt the same way as my friends did, and I found these tweets.
Angela from The Rehearsal is the reason I can't take Christians seriously. Angela from The Rehearsal might be the worst person I've seen in a while. I was not a fan of Angela on The Rehearsal, and episode 5 made me flat out hate her. LMAO, what an awful person. The most amazing thing about The Rehearsal is that Nathan is willing to spend so much time around Angela. Watching The Rehearsal, this Angela lady is insufferable. Angela, The Rehearsal is fucking insane.
So, what's up with that?
I think that was pretty disgusting.
It was his concept.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You don't believe me?
No.
I'm pretty sure I said it earlier, but there will be spoilers for the show. So if you have not seen it, I strongly suggest you watch it and then come back here, cause it's a pretty good show. After the first episode aired and we saw the foundation of the show, Angela was introduced in episode 2 as this woman who would love to be a mother, but just hasn't found the right circumstances to figure that out. She's someone who sees herself as having potential to be a great mother, but is maybe a bit hesitant due to the uncertainty. And honestly, in that sense, she's perfect for the show. If I was being uncharitable, I could see Nathan in the writer's room with all of his writers rubbing their hands together maniacally saying, ooh, we got one now, gang. Ooh, we got one now. But in reality, I think they just saw this woman whose situation mirrored the format of their show really well, but maybe didn't expect the amount of an impact that she would have on the show. Fielder sets up Angela's dream life in rural in the farmland of Oregon and hires a rotating cast of infant, child, and teen actors to play her son, Adam, at various stages from infancy to 18 years old. When the paternal figure Robin steps out of the simulation due to his discomfort, Fielder actually inserts himself into the experiment to keep it going. He's not the stepdad, he's the dad that stepped up. But what becomes abundantly clear as the show goes on is that Angela is a Christian who believes in aromatherapy and, does dance on the side, but also possibly has some conspiratorial beliefs. I'm not a Christian, so I don't think I can really comment on the way Christians are portrayed in the media. And according to the script, it says I am going to comment on it.
We'd probably be online, but we'd also have access to go off the grid because infant skulls have not fully formed. So they absorb wireless radiation a lot more than we do into their brains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we gotta talk about it. Angela's faith is brought up constantly throughout the storyline and often creates friction between other aspects of the experiment. She makes it clear to Nathan that she wants Adam to be raised with a homeschooled, faith-based education. In episode 2, when she shops around, she looks for specifically a Christian man to co-parent with. She's firm in her beliefs and her boundaries when it comes to raising this child, but I do think some of the beliefs that go into her parenting methods do sound a bit conspiratorial. Halloween is a satanic holiday. Google is a satanic website. Eating feces is bad.
You ate feces. You ate the child's feces.
Angela, it was a chocolate bar.
I don't care. Are you aware that eating poo is actually a satanic ritual?
No.
Wow, Angela. You're saying that I can't eat feces now? How can you say I can't eat poop? That was like my favorite after-school snack. I consume shit on a daily basis, and all of a sudden I'm a Satanist now?
Stop pooping.
In all seriousness, I do understand it, and the show definitely does go into the way things that a child are exposed to can affect them long term. Maybe this crude humor isn't something that she would want her kids to see in real life, but some of the insinuations, such as Google, a search engine being run by Satan, sounds totally preposterous to me. But then again, though, that's her. That's her belief. Personally speaking, I was raised Catholic, but I never really believed in God. But I won't deny someone else of that if that's what they choose to believe. Angela even says in the show that before turning to God, she had a negative experience with her father figure and developed a rebellious persona that led to her becoming a drug addict. According to her, the church helped her turn her life around, and for that, she's eternally grateful that she was saved by God. And that's great. That's an instance where religion actively helped a situation and kept a person alive because, let's be honest, we don't need more people dying of drugs. Hey, just wanted to make a quick addendum to that point I just made. I know that religion is not like this band-aid that you can put on addiction. Addiction is a disease, and the people who suffer from it are victims. And also, like, the church has used, I guess you could say, like, shady practices to go into that community and herd more members. The point that I was trying to make is that Angela did turn her life around. And if she wants to credit God as like a sort of way to get the ball rolling that sort of helped her sort of kick that habit and, beat it, then in my book, that's a good thing. So, yeah. I'm personally okay with religion existing as long as it doesn't infringe on other people's safety or comfort or even rights. And with the church coming out against abortion and women's rights recently, or putting immunocompromised people in danger during the pandemic, or even spreading some hateful, intolerant ideology to its community and the children that are in it, I think it's safe to say that in some cases the church can do harm. With that being said, though, overall, I don't think Angela's faith is that harmful in any way. The only way I can see it being a net negative is sort of hypothetical if she does wind up having a kid and raising it. That kid seems like it'll be very sheltered and maybe a bit intolerant to other lifestyles. But that's only a hypothetical. I can't really speak to that. But speaking of intolerant,
What's your favorite movie?
I love the movie Apocalypto. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I think Mel Gibson makes really good movies.
Oh, yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite directors.
Right. He's a little, I think he just said, like, bad stuff about Jews.
Religion as a subject of the rehearsal comes to a head in the penultimate episode 5, Apocalypto. As the show progresses and Nathan becomes more of a subject in the experiments rather than just the facilitator, something that he wants to create in this experience for himself as being a pretend father is the experience of being able to stand up for himself and not be pushed over. Apocalypto is where he finally kind of tries to stand up for himself, and he inquires to Angela if she would be interested in raising Adam, their fake child, in maybe an interfaith home, as Nathan is Jewish. Angela says she is not interested in this and swiftly shuts it down, as this was supposed to be her experience, not Nathan's. Do I necessarily think that she needed to do that? Not necessarily, but I can see where she is coming from, as she very clearly laid out her boundaries in what she was willing to do when it comes to raising this child. Despite this, though, Nathan does begin secretly teaching their fake son Adam about Judaism, going as far as to getting him a tutor, taking him to temple, and reading the Torah in the basement. Which, by the way, when I saw the metaphor and the imagery of practicing Judaism in a basement, I mean, they're wild for that one. Adam's tutor Miriam, though, does become interested in meeting with Angela to maybe have a bit of a theological discussion. And when they do meet up, Miriam confronts her, and Angela does concede that Christians and Jews do kind of have a similar moral compass. She refuses to deny that Christ is her savior. Miriam calls her an anti-Semite. Angela says that Nathan is a manipulator, and trust has kind of been broken in the households.
What, are you gonna go to the cops and tell them?
That's why I'm talking to you about it now.
Adam.
I'm not a snitch.
You're a fucking disaster, my guy. All right?
Another detail that's revealed in the episode that I haven't mentioned yet is that it's revealed that when Nathan isn't around, Angela doesn't really immerse herself into the experience of being a mother when she's left by herself. She doesn't talk to Adam as Adam, but rather as an actor. She neglects her fake Etsy business, and it seems that this giant crew is upholding a world that she doesn't want to play into, despite the fact that everything is to her exact wish. I think this is the reason why the online reception around her has been so negative, because it makes her seem incredibly ungrateful for everything that the crew has done to build her world. Eventually, Nathan, after having a quick rehearsal with the fake Angela, who is fantastic, does confront her and questions her commitment to this whole experience. Her response? She leaves. She walks out, leaving the whole experiment unfinished and unsuccessful. I remember when she appeared in the 6th episode where Nathan apologized to her. And this is where I felt the most audible groan from the crowd of people that I was watching this show with. I'll be honest, I strongly disliked her too after seeing her walk away from something that this team worked so hard to create. As someone who has worked on a film set before, it can be long, hard, grueling hours just to get a watchable product. And if I saw that the subject that I was working to, capture in a way was just not invested in the project at all, and all the work I was doing was for moot, I'd be pretty pissed about that. I can't lie, I'd be fucking pissed. But here's the thing. The Rehearsal is a reality TV show. I mean, I think if you've seen the show, that it is a parody of a reality TV show while also being the thing that it is parodying. I do think that The Rehearsal is high art, in my opinion, and does wonderfully blend comedy and drama and documentary and even science to an extent, all in this beautiful, twisted concoction of one man's mind. But it is a reality show. It is kind of trash TV, but I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive, For instance, let's take the internet's golden boy, Bo Burnham, and talk about Inside real quick. Inside was this groundbreaking cultural event of a comedy special that was the perfect synthesis of online relationships, anxieties of the future, pandemic-related agoraphobia, and so much more. But let's not get it twisted. Inside is just a guy in his room playing with lights. I'm not trying to be reductive, but Bo is essentially doing the same thing he was doing when he was a teenager, making silly songs in his room. It's just that now it feels much more grand because of the emotional vocabulary of it all. And that's really what makes Inside so special, is that so much has changed, yet nothing has really changed at all when it comes to Bo. I do believe that the participants in The Rehearsal are real people, and in that way it is a documentary. But there are definitely writers who are giving a compass to where exactly the storyline of this crazy show goes. I rewatched some of the season last night, and it becomes completely apparent at the end of episode 2 that Nathan is going to completely take this whole thing over as soon as he stepped into the house and joins this little lab rat family experiment. But this is why I think Angela is so interesting to talk about, because she's a reminder of who the experiment is supposed to be about and who it winds up being about. Nathan was supposed to be the facilitator of this whole project, but winds up wrapping himself up inside of it, You can literally see as the season goes along the sort of seesaw that happens as the attention moves further and further away from Angela. And because Twitter loves Nathan Fielder so much. I love Nathan Fielder so much. We see everything that Angela does when she gets in the way of Nathan's great plans as her being difficult or unreasonable. And the fact that she's a Christian definitely doesn't help in that depiction. In fact, this is the other reason why I think Angela is so interesting and why the show winds up spending so much time with her, is that out of both The Rehearsal and Nathan For You, and I think I might be wrong about this, so correct me, but I think Angela maybe is the first subject that Nathan has worked with that he can't completely control. Now, what do I mean by that? Nathan's shows have always been about trying to get everyday people to go along with his absurd antics and schemes to poke fun at their contradictions as well as his own meek personality. And the subjects will always go along with the scheme and not object because Nathan portrays himself as an expert, and he also just has a giant camera crew that is always with him. But Angela is different, you know? Spending so much time with her, we can see that she's actually not that susceptible to Nathan's pranks because she doesn't answer to Nathan. She answers to God.
Just pray, Father, that you would place your hand heavy upon this production, Lord, heavy upon Nathan, that even if they think they are choreographing or guiding this process, that they will see that it is not them, that it is you, God. You are the one that holds the world together on its axis, Father.
Reality television is all about taking people who are willing to do anything for the camera, sticking them in a situation, and turning them into entertainment. You know, you can see villains arise and underdogs persevere, but it all happens with the writers guiding the way. I think Angela gets a lot of hate online because that's how her character was written. But that's the thing also, is that Angela is not a character. She's a real person. In the research leading up to this video, she made a video on Nathan's Facebook group after episode 5 aired, where she kind of discussed the misconceptions about her. But she's very pleased with the portrayal of how she turned out in the show. I won't be able to play the whole thing, but here are the important parts.
Hey guys, it's Angela. Happy Sunday. I'm just popping in with a response to episode 5. Oh my gosh, that was super intense. Miriam had a lot of fire in her belly, and I like that about her. And we talked about a lot of things, actually. All in all, I'm satisfied with how the cut came out. Obviously, I prayed on it and just left it up to God, you know? I knew that I took a risk going into this. I didn't have control over the final edit. They did a good job. Some of the reasons why I left were because at that point it had become more so Nathan's rehearsal instead of mine. And since we didn't agree about how to proceed, I'm not the boss, so it was time for me to go and let Nathan do his thing. So I'm really looking forward to episode 6 and seeing what he does with it. And I will see you guys next time.
So yeah, I'm happy to hear that she's happy with how the show came out and that she's happy with her depiction despite getting some hate online. I really don't think that that matters to her, which is nice to hear. Quick little side tangent though. Robin, who is the co-parent that left for Nathan to replace, has actually come forward and said that he was unhappy with his portrayal. He does say, quote, "I think they really changed my personality. The portrayal is completely aimed at making me look bad." And that sucks that he does feel that way. I mean, when I was watching the show, I personally also wasn't a really big fan. I thought he was kind of an asshole sometimes. And in that interview, he does even concede to that point sometimes. But if you are looking for sort of a life update on Robin, he stopped smoking weed. So cool. He's still a devout Christian. Also cool. And, Oh, he's dating Angela now. When I saw this, looking this up, I was like, what? I mean, I guess if you look into it, they really were meant for each other. I guess Nathan really pulled like a Cupid move there in the final quarter. Both of them are actually on Cameo now, along with Trish the Dish and Miriam the Zionist. So I guess they all get a little bit of a hustle in the wake of the show.
It's Angela from the Rehearsal. Congrats to Prime Pizza for opening their 5th location in Santa Monica. By the way, perhaps I can rehearse my pizza making skills with you?
So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. I really do love this show a lot, and I do think that it is for sure pushing the envelope when it comes to comedy. And it's not like the Dave Chappelle easy layup on trans folk envelope, but it's the envelope that depicts humans as funny, flawed, contradictory, but also beautiful. It's nice to see the online community talk about this project, and I hope that the conversation continues respectfully and generously. And yeah, I'm super excited for season 2. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourself, and remember to use your blinkers when you drive.